Good morning. My name's Tom Borthwick. I was a Grand Master of this fraternity from 2001 to 2021 to 2023. The first part of my term was really rough due to the fact it was the COVID year. We managed to get through it. I believe the fraternity has really grown since. My Deputy Grand Master at the time was Right Worship Brother Mark Roulette. He was until January when he suffered a major stroke. It was heart-wrenching for the fraternity for this. I believe the fraternity would realize that he would have been our next Grand Master. At the time, Right Worship Brother Chris Kitchen was the Senior Grand Warden. He stepped into the role as Deputy. Done a job very well, sorry. I joined the fraternity in 1994. May, I became a Master Mason in St. George Lodge number 12. Ted Hatt was our secretary at the time. My grandfather was a Mason, so this is what always interests me going forward. But Worshipful Master Jim Hanley was one that really coached me along the way. He was a member of St. George Lodge at the time. We were working together. So after everyone used to get off, we had a van and we traveled back and forth. Everyone get up, we would go through some questions and he would prompt me and really get me through my degree work. After that, I was married at the time, had 2 kids, and then later on we got separated and we got divorced. I got back into the lodge. I stepped away from the lodge for about 3 or 4 years. And then when I met my new wife, Patty, she always wondered why I wasn't going, so I got back into the lodge. And once I got back into our own lodge, I became master of our lodge in St. George in 2013, and then again 2015. I really got interested in Grand Lodge. And I talked to the upcoming brothers coming through Grand Lodge at the time and told them how interested I was. And one night, Most Worshipful Clyde Towns, he was not the Grand Master at the time. He was going to be the Grand Master. He asked me if I would be a senior deacon. So that's when I got started, and I went through every seat from senior deacon, junior, all the way up through to where I am today. As Grand Master, I enjoyed my role more than I know how to express myself. We went to more jurisdictions than provinces I've ever been to before. Got an invite to go to the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, which New Brunswick has never been to, which was in Atlantic City. So it was pretty exciting. Then the special invite came from the Grand Lodge of Paris. And that was like, whoa. So my wife and I decided that Italy was always on her bucket list, so we arranged to have, we done a cruise all through before we went to Grand Lodge of Paris. The Grand Lodge of Paris had 90 different representations there from all over the world. In the Grand Lodge session, of course it was all French, and every once in a while you catch an English word. The only person that spoke was a new Grand Master from England, and it was his first official visit as becoming the new working Grand Master. There was about 3,500 brothers present at this session. It was sitting on the stage looking out and seeing all the brothers in all the different regalia and different color regalias and everything. It was pretty impressive, very impressive. Due to the COVID, my senior deacon at the time, Worship Brother Mike McDonald, started a Zoom meeting. So we started Zoom meetings because we couldn't meet. So Michael had known a lot of people. We have Zoom meetings, people from New Zealand, Australia, England, Scotland, many parts of the United States, Newfoundland, all over. And these meetings are still going on. And these brothers talked about the peppercorn ceremony in Bermuda. So the first year, of course, they canceled it because of COVID. And this has been going on for over 200 years. So I made a promise to them this year that I would get there somehow. So it just happened to work out that I was in the All Canada Conference in Winnipeg, and which finished on Sunday. I flew from Winnipeg to Bermuda along with the Deputy Grand Master from Prince Edward Island, and we had some brothers from our own jurisdiction. Worship Brother Peter Justison, Most Worship Brother Mike McDonald also went there. The brothers have talked about the ceremony where the governor comes in and she inspects the guards and everything else. There was, this year, the turnout was down compared to, but it was the first time since COVID. So there was over 80 brothers marched from St. George Lodge down to the square, which is about 100 yards, 150 yards. But to watch the governor come in on this horse and buggy, and she specs troops, and the send-off, it was one of the highlights of my career as being the Grand Master. They had a big garden party to follow. So we talk about it everywhere as I go. So we believe this year there's going to be a lot more people. All the jurisdictions I go, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, I talk about this, and all the Grand Masters are really keen. He said, we hear about it, but we haven't got there. So we're hoping this year that there's going to be a lot more turnout. It's good for the island, it's good for tourism. So we're not sure how it's going to work out, but we believe the tradition will continue as it has for over 200 years. Being the Grand Master wasn't always an easy job. I was pretty open with everyone that I talked to. I told them, here's my phone number. If you want to talk, give me a call. Sometimes the guys would take me up on that. They would call instead of going through Grand Lodge, through my Grand Secretary at the time, which was Bill Covell. Sometimes they just wanted an answer. What can I do? I would always have an open line with all the brothers of this fraternity. Sometimes you think back, say, you know, a lot of the headaches might have went away if I would have allowed everything to go through the Grand Secretary, but I tried to deal with each one of them personally, and I think it went well. Get a lot of good feedback where, Tom, you're very personable, you're open, we can reach you, we can talk to you. Where in the past, I can remember when I became a Mason, when the Grand Master came to visit, you just sat there and you didn't say a word, you didn't dare talk to him, you didn't say nothing. Times have really changed since then, and I believe it's the good of our fraternity to do that, because we're all equal. Just because you have letters in front of your name doesn't make you any better Mason than anybody else. As things go on, we've had our ups and downs. Right at the end of my term, we had to expel, suspend a past Grand Master due to some uncertain circumstances. Wasn't a good job. It was a very hard job for me. Spent a lot of hours on the phone talking back and forth. It came down to the bottom line. When I spoke with him last, he was okay with it. He agreed to the suspension. So it didn't come down to the Grand Master himself taking that upon. He agreed to it, so we left it at that. The rest of my term as Grand Master, I've met so many people on my travels. And even today, as the past Grand Master, I still get invites to go to other jurisdictions, which is makes me feel good. I'm very happy. And the people that we met, my wife and I, we're still very, very close and stay close friends with a lot of them. I've had past Grand Masters from different jurisdictions just stop in, call us, we're coming through, we're going to stop in. I've had them say, come and spend a couple of days with us. They come and spend a couple of days with you, or vice versa. It's just nice to know that the friendship will stay there, always. That's why I encourage a lot of the brothers when I talk to them in Lodge to travel. Travel is a huge, huge thing in our fraternity, where you're going to meet people and it's going to stay a lifeline. Going through my 2 years, my wife and I were going through a lot of things. We had lost a daughter to suicide. So when I became Grand Master, the day I was installed, it was my family was there, my 2 kids, and my wife, and best friends of ours was there for support. And I knew it was going to be hard that Hillary wasn't there. But we got through it. I know she was looking down and saying, you know, you can do this. So everywhere I went, I talked about mental awareness and suicide. And had so many brothers that's been affected by it that are willing, more so now probably than ever in the past, where they don't mind to talk about it amongst the brothers. I just tell them, you know, like, they're all brothers here, but if you don't want to talk, come see me afterwards. And I've been taken up on that offer more times than once, more times than I like to think. So I do believe by me communicating to the brothers that there is help, I believe it is making a big difference. I tell all the brothers, even now when I go on visits with the Grand Master or just any other lodge on my own, you're going to hear me talk about it. So if you don't want me here to talk about it, maybe you shouldn't come to lodge, because I'm going to talk about it. It needs to be talked about. And I've had so many brothers say, Tom, please don't stop talking about it. Had another brother who, in the same boat we were, lost a young fella to suicide. And he told me, he said, Most Worshipful, I wish I could do what you do. He said, because it needs to be talked about. I can't do that, so please continue doing what you're doing. So my career as Grand Master, coming up when I was Junior Warden, the following year I ran for Senior Warden and I got defeated. I didn't go away. I stayed there. I continued my travels. I continued traveling and supporting the Grand Lodge officers. And then the following year I became lucky again to become Senior Warden, and from there into Deputy and then the Grand Master. Going into my term as Grand Master, we knew how hard it was going to be due to the fact because of COVID. And we had to shut lodges down a few times, had to make some restrictions and everything else. So I really only done approximately 18 months as Grand Master because of COVID. But then 6 months that I was as Grand Master, supposed to be officially Grand Master, the past Grand Master, Most Worshipful Randy Nelson, told Tom, there's other things here that if there's something that comes up, you go do it. Some of the lodges had 60 and 70-year pins that needed to be presented, so I would do that. During my term as Grand Master, I presented 7 70-year pins. I can't tell you how many 60 and 50-year pins. But one day, within 24 hours, I had the highlight. In my own lodge in St. George, I presented a 50-year pin to Right Worship Brother Alan Hatt, who was my Grand Director of Ceremonies. The next day, to a brother from our lodge, but he couldn't make the lodge, a 60-year pin to Cal, Brother Cal, sorry, he lost his last name. And that night we were in Heartland, and I presented a 70-year pin to a Brother Green. So in 24 hours, I presented a 50, 60, and a 70. So it was pretty good. I've done the same in Landmark one day. I had a 50, 60, and a 70-year pin there too. One, I can't tell you the date, but one time. Being the Grand Master and presenting these pins, it's an honor. It's a real honor. And it's more of an honor for me to be able to meet these brothers that's done this much time with the fraternity. 70 years is amazing. It's a long time. Considering back then you had to be 21 to join. So these guys are well in their 90s and still attending lodge. And that's the best part about the whole thing, is that they're still attending lodge, most of them. Some of the brothers can't because they're crippled up or whatever, but the ones that do are dedicated, and dedicated Masons. It's nice to see that. My wife has been one of my biggest supporters of my career as Grand Master. Knowing how much I was going to be away from home 2 or 3 times a week for 18 months is a long time. Not counting the weekends sometimes. Most of the time she would be with me on the weekends and we were away to a different jurisdiction. Those were the times that we really sit back and reflect, and we'll talk about, remember the time we were in New Hampshire and this went and that went? I said, yeah. And the people, my wife enjoyed it as much as I did, because she's a very social butterfly. And the women, when they get together, the other jurisdictions, they just, they know what the guys are doing, so they make sure that the women are looked after, very well taken care of. All the programs are very well done. So this year, when me outgoing as Grand Master, I want to make sure that when everybody came here, I want to make sure that everybody's going to have fun. I want people to come back and say, you know, we need to go to the Grand Lodge in New Brunswick. Man, we had a great time there last year. We need to send their memories back with all the people that come here to do that. Right Worship Brother Mark Roulette, when he was the Deputy Grand Master, him and I would talk about 4 nights a week. And usually we start talking about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, to the fact that Mark would be working, then he'd be working in the woods, and then when we come home, he would call. Him and I were on the same path going forward of how we thought we need to see this fraternity to go. That's why it was so heart-wrenching when he suffered a stroke. We're still very good friends. Matter of fact, him and his wife are coming down and spend 4 days with us here soon. Looking forward to it a lot. Talk to his wife almost every day. Been up to visit Mark multiple times. We see him. He's doing very well. He's getting back out to lodge. His mobility issues is coming fantastic. His speech, they're still working on his speech. But just to see him sit in a lodge room with his apron on, it's very rewarding. I remember going to Heartland, and I think everybody in the whole fraternity knew that Mark was going to be there except for me. So when I was on an official visit, so when I came into the room, first person I spotted was him. I was pretty emotional, very emotional. And I don't even remember whether I think we went to the altar and saluted. I think I stepped right a line, went over and gave him the biggest hug. I know I broke protocol, but it was so fitting. And everybody had the biggest smile on their face because they all knew, and I didn't. And I said, I don't know how you, even Right Worshipful Alan Hatt, my Grand Director of Ceremonies, we were very, very close. All the way up, he had a smirk on. I didn't pay any attention to him, I just normal. So, I've had many, many good times. Right Worship Brother Andrew Libby, who is now a new Junior Grand Warden, I made 34 official visits. He made 35. I couldn't make one due to a conflict, what was going on. He never missed an official visit. For me, that was very rewarding, and is what to say for this fraternity, for our brothers coming forward, especially now that he's our new Junior Grand Warden. He's going to do great things for this fraternity. Dedicated Masons. A lot of things that went on in my 2 years, I have to say, most of them were all good. A couple bad things, not so much bad things, things that you don't want to deal with, but you have to deal with. It's like every lodge, no matter how good you think every lodge is, every lodge has issues. And sometimes they call up and they want some advice. So the advice I just give them, here's what I would do. But more importantly, I tell them, guys, Grand Lodge is not going to tell you how to run your lodge. We always try to stay out of that. If it comes down to suspensions or somebody needs to be expelled, that's a different story. But if you're having issues, if it doesn't involve and we can't help, you guys can't get it solved, then we will step in and help you do things. So, had a couple of them issues with a couple of the lodges. They were late in paying their per capita. A couple of years they lost their records. So you have to deal with them things. I believe going forward that these lodges have straightened things out. I haven't heard much about them. I usually hear, even though being past Grand Masters, you get out of the loop, but you guys still keep you in touch with what's going on. During my 2 years as Grand Master, I did have the fortune of being able to give a dispensation for Cornerstone Lodge, a new lodge now in Moncton. The first meeting I was at, that was very well attended. There was 36 brothers in attendance. They meet 4 or 5 times a year on a Saturday morning, early. And the place that they're meeting is very, very unique because it's a church hall, and their brothers who have mobility issues can get in and out of it. 1 or 2 stairs is all there is, and they also have a chairlift. So it's very nice where they have it. So a lot of the brothers are coming because they can't get to them on the other lodges, due to the fact that most lodges in this province have multiple stairs. There's very few that don't. So it's nice to see that, and it's nice to see that another new lodge form. Had some conflict about it, but we worked through it. I had no conflict with it. A lot of people were questioning what was going on. And as Grand Master, and at the time as a Deputy Grand Master, Right Worshipful Chris Kitchen and I talked, and we thought it was fitting. The proposal they put forward was very well done. Named many brothers who would be joining the lodge, and the reason they stopped going to the other lodge is because they can't get into the lodge because of the stairs. So it's nice to see that some of our brothers who have mobility can get to lodge. Work has a lot of things to do with it. Guys that work a night shifts or whatever, and they can't get to lodge, so having it on a Saturday is very fitting. Same as the Temple of Phoenix, they have theirs on a Saturday, and it's very fitting so guys can get there and make sure that everyone is good to go. During my 2 years, Right Worshipful Bill Koval was my Grand Secretary. Him and I would talk a lot. Very, very well organized. And he hadn't been to any other jurisdictions. So the Grand Lodge of Maine invites, Grand Lodge of Maine, Grand Lodge of New Hampshire, Rhode Island invites the secretary as a guest. So he went to the Grand Lodge of Maine with me, and him and his wife, and he's still talking about, wow. He said, now I know why you enjoy going to these sessions. It's really nice to see. So I was very pleased when he got the invite, and I was pleased that he decided to go, just so he could say, yes, now Tom, you come back, I see what you're talking about, how all the other jurisdictions, things do, just knowing so much how they do it, but how they do different things. Every jurisdiction is different. Grand Honors is different in every jurisdiction. So just to sit back and see and watch how things go. The Grand Lodge sessions, he said, they have the same problems we do. Same problems we do. He said, yes, they do. You know, so going through a list of things that has to get done at Grand Lodge. My Grand Lodge officers at the time was Right Worshipful Chris Kitchen was a deputy. The first year, Right Worshipful Tim Yates, we had Worshipful Brother Mike McDonald, Right Worshipful Brother Alan Hatt, Worshipful Brother Adam Hatt, Worshipful Brother Gil Bro, Worshipful Brother Steve Backman, Right Worshipful Brother Danny Jones, District Deputy. Right Worshipful Brother Jeff Layton was a District Deputy. Right Worshipful Bruce Roper was a District Deputy. Right Worshipful Blaine Brooks was a District Deputy. Right Worshipful Alan Bishop was a District Deputy. Right Worshipful Brother Wade Moore was a District Deputy. They all stayed the same until Right Worshipful Brother Al Bishop health issues took over for him. So Right Worshipful Brother Bob Taylor stepped in to do the last year, and I was very, very appreciative of Bob, and he done an awesome job. Real awesome job. We used to have 7 districts, now we only have 6, due to the fact that lodges closed in each of the districts, made the lodge to 2 districts smaller, so we combined District 2 and District 7 back to District 2. No issues that we heard of, and I still don't hear any issues from any of the brothers between the 2 and 7. Sometimes you get that where no, we want to stay 7. No issues whatsoever. Danny Jones looked after both them districts when he was District Deputy, and I do not believe that he ever missed a lodge meeting at either one of them. If he did, it had because he was sick, but he attended every one of the lodge meetings. Done an amazing job up there to try and keep both intact what was going on at the time. I know I'm missing some Grand Lodge officers. Worship Brother Bill Cole was a Grand Historian. Right Worship Brother Harry Fole was a treasurer. Second year, Worship Brother Adam Scott came in the picture. And Worship Brother Mark Reed was in the picture. I should have a list. How quick time flies when you're trying to think of who was all your Grand Lodge officers. And I knew them all. Trust me, I knew them before I came here, and I'm just trying to, I should have wrote them down, and I didn't. But no, for going forward, I believe personally this fraternity is growing. I know a lot of brothers are going by statistics where we're losing brothers left and right. We're losing a lot of brothers left and right. We're losing a lot of them because of their age. And they're leaving us. But we're also bringing in a lot of new brothers. Each lodge is bringing in brothers. Grand Lake put through a new member here in the last year while I was Grand Master, and they haven't had a member in 15 years. And almost every lodge that you go to are saying, we have entered apprentice, we have fellowcrafts. So that's very fitting for our future and for the future Grand Masters going. I see us growing. Other people see us depleting. I believe we will lose some brothers, but I don't think we're going to lose too many because of suspensions and non-payment of dues. I think it's because of their age. As Grand Master, I really enjoyed my time. I enjoyed traveling more than anything. That was my lifeline, just to travel and get out and see all the brothers. The only lodge that I did not make an official visit to was the Temple of Phoenix. And I called the master at the time, told him what was going on. I had a family issue that had to be dealt with. They completely understood. So the deputy, Right Worship Chris Kitchen, done an official visit there as a Deputy Grand Master. So it was fitting. Since leaving Grand Master, I've received 2 or 3 nice messages from past Grand Masters during the same time that I was Grand Masters, from how fitting it was and how a friendship will stay as it was, and it was how nice just to be able to sit in lodge with you and enjoy the company. So those things like that are really nice when a past Grand Master writes you or sends you a message and says, like, thank you for our friendship. I know it won't die, and hope to see you soon on the travels. Those are really nice and fitting. I'm sure a lot of the past Grand Masters got the same, because you always get a special bond with certain people. It just seems that you're in the same line of work, or your hobbies are the same, and it's nice when that happens. To our future Grand Masters, I believe personally that you have to have an open line. There's a give and take. Most Grand Masters have an agenda that he wants to complete. But I also think sometimes your agenda, if you look at it, you need to make sure that if somebody's telling you something, they're telling you for a reason. You need to be able to understand and say, I never thought of that. You need to think outside the box. I always had one of them persons in the back of my ear. Think outside the box. They tell you something, I never thought of that. Especially when you get your mind focused one way, you think, this is what I have to do. And you don't have to do it that way. Take the advice of past Grand Masters. I had 2 past Grand Masters I probably called them. One for sure I would call once a week, and the other one probably every second week. Just need some advice. Here's what's going down, and I took their advice. They would say, you have two options, Tom. You can do it whatever you think that you want right, or here's another option. We do it this way, and look. I said, yeah, you know, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So it was very nice to have a past Grandmasters, I would say, in my corner whenever I needed them. And it was just a phone call away. And it was like every time I'd hang up, I'd say, guys, I'm sorry. Tom, it's no bother. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. And I was speaking with one of them the other day and saying the same thing. And he said, I told you when you became Grandmaster, both these brothers, past Grandmasters, came to me when I became Grandmasters and said, if you need any help, you know, anything, just pick up the phone and call us. I took them up on their offer, and I am so glad that I did. Especially when you're traveling to other jurisdictions, you don't know what to expect for your first time. So you get a little bit of heads up. What do I do? How does things go? What's going on? You'll see this, you'll see that. And then they come back and I have to tell them, you know, I say, yeah, well, thank you very much for everything you've done. So to the future, pray that our fraternity keeps on growing. We want to make sure that we need to be open. We need to be open with all our brothers and let them know what's going on. There should be no secrets. I don't think there was any secrets when I was Grandmaster. Everyone knew. If they wanted to know anything, I'd pick up the phone and call them. There is some things that you discuss with the executive that needs to be discussed as executive. Could be finances, could be that usually stays, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how we go forward. But for the future Grandmasters, have an open mind, and be approachable. Be approachable. That's the biggest thing as Grandmaster. You need to be approachable afterwards, and make yourself approachable. Don't hover in a corner where people's not going to see you. And just remember, a lot of people are going to want to talk to you. And if you spend 10 or 15 minutes talking to one person, the other guys there felt like, wow, I'm not important enough to talk to you. So I always try to keep the conversation short and just say, yep, can we do this? Somebody else wants to chat. And they might just want to stop and say hi. But for a brother to do that, approaching the Grandmaster, he's excited. He might have never met you before, but he's excited. So I think all new Grandmasters need to be on that line. Not because I did it, but I followed footsteps from past Grandmasters, where years ago you couldn't do that, and then as some of the Grandmasters come on, that got loosened, and then it's like, wow, you know, he's very approachable, talkable, and talk to him. So, as past Grandmaster, I would like to thank Very Worshipful Bill Cole for doing this interview. He's telling me what he's trying to do, and I think it's probably long overdue. Stuff like this should have been done a long time ago for the past Grandmasters. Especially history is going to be a livelihood. Somebody's going to look down and say, what did this Grandmaster do? What did that Grandmaster do? I want to thank all my Grand Lodge officers for the 2 years, the 18 months, 2 years that they served with me. I believe they enjoyed it as much as I did. Worship Brother Peter Justison had a dinner for me when I became Grandmaster, invited multiple people. So now he wants to have an outgoing dinner. So there's an outgoing dinner on September the 16th at St. George Lodge. Peter's put a program together. He came to my place the other night and looked at it, and I was like, you know, guys like this has made my job easier, and I appreciate what they're doing, and never ever thought about doing anything like this, but some of the ideas that he come up with is really good, really nice. It's going to be a fun night, a little bit of trivia, going to have some laughs, we're going to have some stories. The stories are always good. So looking forward to it, looking forward to the retirement. I wish the new Grandmaster the best of luck in his travels. He's doing as much travel as I did. I can see it from his Facebook page. I believe he's enjoying it enjoying it as much as that I do. To all the brothers, if anyone watches this, get out and support your lodge. Be a member of your lodge and travel. Don't be scared to travel. Travel as much as you can and enjoy the fraternity. I believe that's probably, I don't know if there are any other questions. Bill, is there any questions that I missed? No. Okay, brothers, we will see you somewhere in lodge. Thank you.